Ford High School Weekly is brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Billy Sims Barbecue. It's not just barbecue, it's Boomer Q.
Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deanna Mate. On this week's episode, we have another special guest for you. This time, we're interviewing an athletic director. That's right, Emily Barkley from the Union School District is here to talk to us about all things going on at Union. Emily, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you talking with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. We've wrapped up an exciting week of 0-week football, and so getting ready to head into the rest of the season.
Man, that quick question before we get started is that, like, with football season coming around with you guys, how intense is it for you in preparation-wise?
You know, there's a lot of things that go into preparing, and the first game of the season always seems to be one that just gets you, on your toes and go through all the checklists. We had a grand opening of the stadium this past Friday, and so it was just a little heightened awareness, working a lot of extra hours on the weekends and at nights to prepare for it. And now I feel like we're in a groove and we'll be ready for some big upcoming games.
We'll talk a little bit more about that grand opening later on in the interview. But first and foremost, how did you get involved in athletics? I mean, I'm talking about from the way back when you were first picked up any kind of ball or bat. Well, how did you get involved in athletics?
So I'm a second child, and so I had a sister that would play things and get to do things, and I was the one tagging along, wanting to always be in there. My mom said I would come to all the practices with my shin guards on, ready to play. And so just got into soccer and basketball at a young age and actually stayed with that throughout my high school career. And so that's where my passion grew. I had a tremendous experience as a student athlete here at Union. I'm a Union 1996 proud Union grad. And the experience I had with my coaches and the people I was surrounded with just really led me to want to be a part of it, just so much more. I didn't go on to college to play. I had a few opportunities to play small college basketball and soccer, but my passion, I knew I wanted to be back in an athletic role. And so I went over to the University of Tulsa, and they had a sports administration program, and I just fell in love with it on the day I toured the university. And so I was able to go to school there and volunteer coach back at my high school throughout my time in college.
So after playing at Union, you moved on to TU, and what was that experience like in college? I know you mentioned that you coached as well as being a student. It sounds like a heavy task to bear. So what was that experience like?
I had a great experience over at TU. I worked in the women's basketball office where in 1996, it was the first year they had women's basketball back at TU after a hiatus, and they didn't have enough players to play 5-on-5. And so myself and a girls tennis player, and about 3 of the boy managers would scrimmage them every day, and, kind of got to be around it, got to know the coaches. I was actually offered a scholarship my freshman year because I think they just didn't have enough players. I kind of was already in retirement mode. I declined it. I think my parents still wonder what I was thinking, but I did. And because I knew, I really knew what I wanted to do. In high school, I had decided I wanted to be an athletic director. I loved our athletic director at Union, Benny Dixon. He made things fun. He knew who we were. And I wanted to be able to give that same experience back. And so I would go into his office as a high school student. And one day I said, I'm going to take your job one day. And I think it was probably a day that he had been up to his limit in concerns and complaints. And he said, well, you can have it right now. So I was able to get some of those experiences over at TU and build a relationship. Judy McLeod was the athletic director at the time. And so who was a better role model for me than Judy as a female in this sport, and then me getting to see and get to know her firsthand during my time at TU.
Well, they must have respected you a lot to try to offer you the job when you were like 18 or 19 years old. So you mentioned that you coached as well at Union, and did you do other coaching after you graduated from TU?
So I was just a student coach. I went back and helped my old high school basketball coach, and then she retired a few years later, and the new coach coming in had kind of asked me if I would stay along. He was new to the program. I had known him and didn't really want to leave him hanging at that time. And so I finished my undergraduate at TU with an athletic administration in the business school, a degree from there, kind of pleaded my case to Judy and had told her what I wanted to do and be someday. And so there was an academic advisor position. I worked primarily with the incoming freshman football players. I volunteered for every event possible on campus, from football games to the WAC basketball tournament back then, to tennis tournaments and golf tournaments, just to kind of get my face out there and to learn what it was all about. So my work at Union was just basically volunteering, just helping coaches from time to time. I didn't have the full time to devote to it, but I liked to be around it and I wanted to be around it. And so I did that. I went to TU from 96 to 2002 and had my MBA whenever I left there. And I had a job outside of athletics for about 9 months before Coach Blankenship, who was the AD and head football coach, called and said, "I think I have something for you if you want to come back to Union." And then that was in 2004, and I've been here ever since.
Man, only 9 months out of there, and then they was like, nope, we need you. Come on back.
Yeah, Coach Blankenship, like I said, he was the head football coach when I was a student in high school, and he actually, ironically, lived a half a mile from where my dad owned Mazzio's Pizza growing up, and he had seen my work ethic in there, and so years later had told me he was impressed by that, and he knew what my passion was and kind of took a chance on me. And so 19 years later, here we are.
Well, sometimes you got to take a chance on a winner, and sounds like he certainly did.
Thank you.
Well, when we come back, we'll talk about Title IX, and it sounds like Union has a new football stadium. We'll be right back here on Forward High School Weekly. Welcome back to Forward High School Weekly. We're talking with Union District Athletic Director Emily Barkley as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX. How is Title IX different now from when it was back when you were growing up and you were playing sports?
So I remember, just celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX in June, which was pretty amazing to think about. Because when the passage of the law in 1972, that's 5 years before I was born. And so to fully understand what everyone went through, during that time is hard for me, because by the time I was in high school, I felt like the opportunities, at least here at Union, were very much equal to those of the boys. I do remember waiting after practice for a couple hours because the boys would finish theirs, but then the next day it would be the opposite. We would practice and then the boys would practice. So I feel like, in the mid 90s, it was an area that, at least at our school here, had it very much under control. Now, I will say, whenever I began at the University of Tulsa in that fall of 96 and took sports administration classes, sports law classes, I feel like that might have been the height of Title IX at that time, because there were a lot of lawsuits. Owasso had a big softball one at the time. And so there was a lot of research for me to be able to write papers and be able to have those as projects in the class. And, I think when you fast forward to today and having been in the position, I know that the athletic directors that I'm friends with in the area schools, we do everything in our power to ensure those equal opportunities. And, there's things from time to time that you notice and you go and make better on. But I feel like we've made such tremendous strides in that area. And you're starting to see more and more female athletic directors on the high school level. And so I feel like, 50 years later, we still have progress to make, but I think that we're all headed in the right direction.
When you were in those classes at TU, when you were in your athletic law and different things like that, were you the only, young lady in there, or were there multiple? Because of Title IX, you're starting to see a lot more girls in those classes.
Thinking back, a lot of the group projects I did, it would be, about 4 guys and myself. And so there weren't a whole lot. And I think people forget it's sometimes hard in this position to have a career in this and also, go into parenthood. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and the only reason I'm able to realistically do this job is because I have family that's here, and she's an only child.
What made you believe that you could be at this position at some point in your career, or even want to be an athletic director, for the sheer fact that I'm guessing you didn't see a lot of women athletic directors when you were growing up?
There really wasn't. And I don't know that I felt that I wanted to do it just to be the only female or to be the first at certain things. I had such a passion for sports and for the high school experience that I had, that I wanted to give that back. And, it took me a while to realize how unique having a female in this position. We're the second largest school in the state of Oklahoma. And, that's not common for someone to have that role. But I don't think it really hit me whenever I was in the grind of everything. At the time I was single, and I had the nights and the weekends and everything to devote to that. And so I just kind of put my head down and did my work and tried to earn the respect from the fellow athletic directors in our conference that I got to work with every day, who were just phenomenal, welcoming me in that. And so I don't think I really thought about doing it because I was a female, just that was something that I was passionate in. And, whenever I did get into that field of study, there was a professor at TU named Peggy Smith, who said, we're going to need females in this field. And so it really solidified that I had a shot at it, and that I wanted to dive in and try to get this thing going.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of young ladies out there that are really glad that you went down that path, because I'm sure I know of a couple that want to do the same thing. So from them, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, when we come back, we'll talk about the new stadium over there at Union and a lot more. We'll be right back here on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. Now, Union has a new football stadium, and one of the people involved in bringing that to Union, Emily Barkley. Emily, how was it bringing that brand new stadium in these last couple of weeks? What kind of work went behind that?
It's been, about a 3-year process from the time that we dropped the home side of the stadium, and they've been working on it. We actually had the home side back this past last season, but we were able to do a grand opening of the entire complex with the addition of the fine arts wing that is on the end of the building. And so it was just all summer long. We thought we had so much time preparing for this first football game, and then you look up and it's here. There's last minute gates being put in, and lights being fixed, and our video board, which is just tremendous to watch a high school football game at. It took a lot of people and a lot of time, and just the buzz around here with our kids. They're just so excited and so proud to be a part of this new era of Union football.
All right, I went and watched the scrimmages 2 weeks ago, and I saw the home side. The stadium looks beautiful, but in Oklahoma now that Oklahoma State put that big jumbotron, they're calling it the Godzillatron, and now I see y'all's. Now, how big is that thing?
So ours is 38 by 55, and the square footage of it is one of the largest. I hate to say largest in Oklahoma. I believe it is square footage wise. But it is just I joke around that my new big screen TV got installed because I can see it right outside my window. But if you haven't seen it up and running, that is something that you need to, and you can actually see it from about a half a mile away when you're at some of the local businesses. So it's nice and it's big, and it's been a lot of fun watching.
Apparently we just really like big TVs and big video boards in Oklahoma, because that thing is ginormous. Have you heard anything from the players about, or other teams that come into the stadium saying it's distracting, or it's just big, or is it affecting the play any?
I haven't noticed it affecting the play. I do think that our coaches are having a lot of fun playing with it right now. They put the scout team card up on the jumbotron so that they, so that our players are more efficient during practice. They watched Thursday night's game up on the big screen, kind of a way to scout the game, and they invited the players to come back. So they're getting a lot of use out of it other than just Friday nights, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
So what went behind like putting some of that stuff up? Is like, what kind of red tape do you have to go through to do the stadium, video board, all that kind of stuff? What's some of the things the viewers wouldn't be aware of that y'all had to kind of go through?
Well, we have a full-time video production. Andy Irwin has been doing all that. So he creates graphics and works with our sponsors to have commercials and videos for all that. There's a video production room up in the new press box. And then, of course, all the wiring and the behind the scenes to get that up and running, just to have it play. But there was a lot of time and effort. And, you kind of hold your breath until until the first game and it's actually working, and everything worked perfectly. And we're so thankful for that.
As far as the small details that you wouldn't think would be a big issue, but was kind of a tall task to kind of get through that people wouldn't be aware of, what kind of small things that you have to handle to get that stadium up and running?
Well, I remember last year, right before our first game, and even the bathrooms, the entrance and the exit to it weren't clearly marked. And so I kind of looked at our operations people and said, how would somebody know that's a boys' bathroom and that's a girls' bathroom? And, everybody's going, oh, I thought, it has it on this side. And I said, well, not on this one. Or the door handle is an exit only, but it has one on each side. So you've got people walking all kinds of ways. We did a walkthrough about a week ago, and there wasn't a gate on one of our fences that were out there. And I thought, are we going to have this by next week? Because this will be a free for all for everybody to get in. But, we made it work, and our operations team and our grounds crew and everybody just had everything looking great for last Friday.
With week 0 in the books on the Ford Game of the Week, we'll take a look at some highlights from those games when Ford High School Weekly returns. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. The Ford Game of the Week began last Thursday. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from our first telecast with the Western Heights Jets taking on the Putnam City West Patriots.
Let's take a look at those first half highlights, Dion.
Yeah, take a look at this first touchdown right here. Number 6, Cornelius Grisby breaks a tackle on the outside from the 5-yard hitch route and turns it into 80-yard touchdown. And then on the ensuing possession, they block a punt. Savion James is there to pick it up and take it on to the end zone with his teammates, making it look easy. And then the third touchdown, this guy right here, Jordan Warriors, having a ball game, takes this punt return all the way to the house, switches one way, goes the other way, and gets a host of blockers in front of him, crosses the pylon, and gets into the end zone. Then Knight, bouncing the ball to the outside, makes another move, picks up some great blocking from some receivers down the field, and takes it in for the touchdown. Take another look, dipping the shoulder, making a move, getting to the outside, and the blocking. And then the fullback dive into the end zone for another touchdown for the Patriots. The head coach's son himself, Alexander, takes this one in. And then the quarterback calls his own number. Number 11, Johnson, puts his foot in the turf, gets into the end zone, and gets the score for the Patriots as he holds up the touchdown and he celebrates with his teammates.
The Patriots' Isaiah Thomas scored on a nice 48-yard run midway through the third quarter as Putnam City West rolled to a 48-0 victory in their home opener. Now, Mike Ziegenhorn and Rod Thompson have the highlights of the Highway 97 rivalry from Sepulveda.
We've seen some highlights, Rob, but how about some more?
Yeah, how about some more right here? And it started off early. The fumble by Sand Springs started off a little shaky, and then Mr. Smith. Going to find him right here for this touchdown right here. Nice move, one-on-one. He's going to get past the defender and get into the end zone. But coming right back, Sand Springs, the old line. And we talked about this man, Mr. Page, getting it done. Then Howard at that quarterback position, showing his speed. Nice move right there, a little juke, able to get into the end zone. We were going back and forth. Heavyweight fight right here. Then again, number 2, I said he got 5. Here's another one for him right here. Page. Now we're going to look deep. Going deep right here. Watch the interception right here by Ferguson. Able to come away with it. And that was a big-time play. Noah Ferguson able to get that interception before the half right there. And then Peterson, Page again, taking his time, going through. Kenneth Page gets another one, the junior. Able to punch it in. Right back at you. Mr. Smith. He's going to turn around, get around the edge for the touchdown. And boy, we were going back and forth. Boy, in this matchup, but really too much of this guy right here. Kenneth Page again. You need one, coach? I got you again. We said number 2 had 5. That was another one. And you think we're done? We're not done yet. Another move. Page, get outside. Pick him up and put him down, young man. Kenneth Page. There he is. That was number 5. And he gets it done. And boy, we had a nice game. What a way to start 0 week. Highway 97 rivalry. Kenneth Page, number 2, gets 5, gets it done, the player of the game. Zig, that's just the way we started, baby,
Woo,
right
man,
there.
I'm out of breath, and you did all the talking.
Your view. That's how we do it on Your View, coach. That's how we do it.
Number 2, get 2 for 5.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Chick-fil-A ought to do a deal next week.
Yeah,
2 for
they said
5.
2 for 5.
There
I'll
you
be in
go.
line. Courtesy of my man, Mr. Page, right there. And you look at these stats. Look at the rushing. 230 to 75, 230. Page had 204. Look at the passing yards, 151 to 114. First downs, 18 to 14. The turnovers, Sand Springs had those early 2 for 1. You look at the penalties, 5 of 63 of 25. Very, very good game. What you expect in Highway 97 rivalry. Sand Springs, Coach Klink, Page, they get it done, 35 to 21.
Page again. Cross midfield. He may take it to the house.
Page.
Kenneth Page, number 5. Are you kidding me?
Be sure to go to yourview.com/OK for highlights and replays of the Ford Game of the Week. And check out our podcast and past episodes at yourview.com/OK. Stay tuned for the Ford Game of the Week. Oklahoma City will see Edmond Santa Fe versus Choctaw. Tulsa will see Owasso versus Sheen. And tune in next week for the conclusion of our visit with Emily Barkley. Remember, only the best in Oklahoma, like Union AD, Emily Barkley, make the Ford High School Weekly. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Deanna Made.
Ford High School Weekly has been brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Billy Sims Barbecue. It's not just barbecue, it's Boomer Q.